continent that we have worked with. We've worked in more than 14 countries. We have managed more than 70 projects, and we have done more than 15 sustainability, reports for companies. We have made more than 24 sustainability strategy for businesses. We are also advising when it comes to issues of carbon credits advisory, sustainability training. We also have, trained more than 40 people, when it comes to the GRI training. So in a nutshell, this is what we are in terms of our footprint. And we thank God, that we have been able to come this far within that short time, which again is a big encouragement for all of us that, this is it, the choices that you are making here to be in sustainability, to know more about sustainability, truly we are on the right path. So again, is to say that, as Impact Africa, we are trying to grow to become the #1 African sustainability boutique firm. And really our experience is evident there. In terms of the team, and I think it is important, also to showcase that, we do have a team. We have a team of about 21 people, who is supporting all these clients, and we are always recruiting and expanding, as a way of contributing to the continent and also contributing to ourselves, in our own growth and seeing that impact that is happening. So indeed, as you sign up for the GRI course through us, for sure, it means that you are in safe hands. We've been at it, we've been tested, we've been working, and you can see there is a huge team which will be behind you to support you to be able to pass your exam and also to be able to practice, as we'll be able to see in a short while. In a nutshell, that's, what Impact Africa is all about, and I'm really looking forward to engaging with you for this training, but also into the future. And that's why, Catherine, keep on insisting that please sign up into our social media handles. We will be able to be there and to support you with all the information that you require, as we go along. Other than that, I think I'll let Owen, to continue with the presentation, and I'll come back specifically talking about the GRI and what is it that is expected of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. for that introduction. And even as we delve deeper into this conversation, we can start off with a question on what are some of the sustainability myths that we've had out there. Kindly post your comments on the chat. Owen, welcome.
So thank you very much, Catherine, for that. And you'll help me read the comments that are on the chat before we delve in.
Yes, as we wait for comments to come in, some of the sustainability myths that have come up are to do with sustainability is only for big corporates. Sustainability is only focused on environment. Sustainability is about the environment, and sustainability is expensive. Welcome, Owen.
So thank you very much, Catherine. Listening to some of the concerns that have been raised on the group, it's clear for us to say that sustainability is clearly not for big corporates, it's clearly not about environment, and it's clearly not expensive. This is one of the reasons why you should train with us, as we'll be demystifying some of these myths that are coming up. As you have heard before, or as you know, sustainability has been defined as development that meets the present needs without compromising our future needs. And you can see in our case, we look at sustainability with 3 pillars, which is environment, social, and governance. This is also demystifying the belief that sustainability is majorly about environment. We can see some of the issues that we tackle when we talk about sustainability in the environment pillar, in the social pillar, and in the governance pillar. And we can ask ourselves, what is the application of sustainability? First and foremost, sustainability has been used as to direct risks to operations. We know that right now there are transitional risks that are coming up in regards to the agreements that have been signed, like the Paris agreements, which are against the use of coal. So we also need to align ourselves to ensure that these transitional risks don't get to us. There's also a lot of reputational and regulatory compliance and litigation risks that are currently facing our organizations. We have seen the Nairobi Securities Exchange coming up with the NSE ESG guidelines 2021 that are now implemented with listed companies. We've also seen other regulations from the European Union which require that corporates have at least a due diligence mechanism to ensure that they factor in matter sustainability into their operations. We also talk about indirect operational risks, which we mainly look at our suppliers. We're trying to look at how are our suppliers aligned with our environmental goals. Do they know where we want to go as an organization in terms of our scope 1, our scope 2, and our carbon emissions? Also, do they facilitate social issues such as human rights? Are our suppliers employing children in the operations? Are they ethically sourcing? Are they paying minimum wage? So these are some of the issues that we will be looking at as in our training course. Also, there's a lot of investor demands that speak to sustainability. We have seen the IFC performance standards. We have seen also investors requiring that organizations have sustainability reports just to show the commitment and the outward approach on how organizations are facing with sustainability issues. We also have reporting obligations, where we'll talk about different frameworks that are there and the recommended frameworks by the Nairobi Securities Exchange, which recommend the Global Reporting Initiative as a reporting framework. We also have other reporting frameworks which we will delve into as we progress. Also, when we look at sustainability, we're looking at the opportunities and risks that are there. And when we look at opportunities, we're not only focusing on the risks, we're looking at risks that we can turn into opportunities. How can we be innovative in our organizations? How can we have competitive advantage on what we do? How can we develop new products as we go on with our sustainability journey? Just to continue with this, there's a growing pressure on companies to respond on sustainability matters from a range of stakeholders. We have seen customers increasing their demand for ESG compliant products. We've done a study with Strathmore where we have seen 74% of customers and wholesalers are sourcing from sustainable companies. Also, when you look at customers and consumers, we are seeing 73% of millennials are altering their buying habits with the environment in mind. And you can see the millennials are the bigger percentage of the target of our organizations. We also look at consumers increasingly including ESG considerations in their purchasing decisions. Simple things like packaging materials are now factored when we come to purchasing power. We have seen organizations like Coca-Cola also coming up with pilot projects where they are trying to avoid use of packaging materials. Also, when it comes to employees, we're looking at how can we be able to ensure that our employees are retained. Those of us who have a human resource background, we know the amount of budgets that we are using on recruitments. Are our employees satisfied with what is going with what we are doing as in our organization? We're also looking at our value chain and partners, which I also spoke of, which is our suppliers. Are we doing due diligence checks to ensure that they are not going against our organization policies? Because there's a risk in terms of direct relations. If one of our suppliers is bridging some of the human rights issues, some of the social issues, these issues are going to face us in the near future. We're also looking at shareholders and investors. Shareholders now are driven to not only get profits, but profit with a purpose. That's why we need to factor in sustainability. Moving forward, we'll just highlight some of the benefits that have been seen in our market in regards to sustainability. One, we've seen that organizations which are sustainable have a lot of good reputation in terms of the brand value. Right now, if I am able to mention companies like Finley's, companies like Unilever, clearly without stating what happened in the past, you can be able to connect the dots on what I'm talking about. But then if I'm able to mention companies like Safaricom, Equity, we can also connect the dots and see the ideas that we have. So sustainability helps us to be able to mitigate and also be able to prevent some of these risks that are coming, that come up, boosting our brand. We're also looking at the long-term viability and signal commitment, which will cultivate trust for company longevity. We'll be looking at where we are sourcing our raw materials as companies. How are we be able to ensure that in the next 10, 15, 20 years, our operations will thrive? We're also looking at internal accountability from the different departments. When we embed sustainability into our businesses, we'll give KPIs and responsibilities to different members of the organization. This will further and increase internal accountability for our organization. We're also looking at eco-friendly innovations, which will be cost-saving, which will yield cost-saving. A good example is we have seen organizations coming up with innovations. A good example is Strathmore. Strathmore was able to integrate solar systems which have about 600 kilowatts peak, which was expensive. So people would have argued it was expensive from the onset, but right now Strathmore is able to save about 30% of their energy needs, and they're able also to sell their excess needs to Kenya Power. Also, with sustainability, we are able to communicate our progress on sustainability initiatives to stakeholders. So we are able to first produce reports annually which are comparable, which are transparent, and our stakeholders can be able to see clearly our sustainability efforts. Sustainability also can be used as a business development tool, where we are seeing with the investor demands that are there, we are able to ensure that we are able to meet their needs and we're able to align. Right now, there are a lot of opportunities in terms of green financing, and the opportunities that are there are for us to be able to align ourselves in terms of the sustainability policies, in terms of the strategies that are embedded to the business goals, and with that, we are able to attract investors into our operations. Also, sustainability can be used as a management tool where we are able to cut costs where in our operations. This provides firm structures frameworks to assess, monitor, and communicate performance within the different departments. Also, sustainability has been linked to resilience in the sense that we're able to identify not only the risks but also turn the risks into opportunities in our day-to-day operations. In regards to the trends, we have seen a number of trends coming up in terms of sustainability, and one of the main trends is the integration of sustainability reporting with financial reporting, because stakeholders want to see the overview and a holistic approach of what your organization does in terms of the economy, social, and environmental interconnections. We're also seeing alignment with global standards, and there's been a call to have standards that can operate and link into each other. Good examples is the GRI standard that is now creating interoperability measures with other frameworks to ensure that once you align with one reporting standard, you're able at least to also report, to also align to the other reporting requirements with the other organizations. There's also utilization of technologies. This comes in terms of data collection, which has been really a pain in most organizations where data collection has been an issue. So once we do this course, we're able to see and look at ways where we can have a system where data will be collected centrally and on a real-time basis. Also, in terms of materiality assessment, there is a need and it's a requirement with the reporting frameworks that we have to include our stakeholders so that they can be sure of where the company is going in terms of our material topics, in terms of our strategy, in terms of our reporting needs. Also, there's incorporation of scenario analysis where we see companies doing climate-related stress testing so that we can see if in case the environment goes beyond the two degrees Celsius that we are trying to not to go against, what can happen? Will we close our operations? So these scenario analyses are now critical in terms of reporting. Also, finally, people are also looking at the metrics and targets in terms of the numbers that we report. Are they quantifiable? Are they comparable? If we say our scope 1 and 2 emissions were this amount in this year, come next year, will we be able to give comparable data in terms of the boundary or organization, in terms of the emissions that we produced? Finally, as we are going to end up into the session where the rubber meets the road, where we're going to look at the overview of sustainability reporting with the GRI standards. But before then, I'm going to highlight some of the reporting frameworks that are key with the current developments. First, we are going to speak on the Global Reporting Initiative, where Daktari will go ahead after I'm done with this slide and give at least a detailed view of what the GRI reporting framework consists of. We have had the IFRS S1 and S2 standards. And these are the latest standards that were released last year June, and we have seen them integrating the TCF, the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, which have now been embedded in the IFRS S1 and S2. Also, there is the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures, which talks mostly on biodiversity. And as you know, GRI also has released a standard today, which is the GRI 101 on biodiversity, which is a requirement for all organizations to embed matters to do with biodiversity in their systems. We also have the ESRS, which is the European Sustainability Reporting Standards, which have been in effect from the beginning of this year. And we see the effects of the ESRS will be felt also in other jurisdictions that are beyond Europe. because they have highlighted matters to do with corporate social due diligence, so that we can ensure that organizations are following up also in terms of where they're sourcing their materials. May it be a multinational company which has its headquarters in the European nations. We see that there is a demand that they are able to come to where they are sourcing their raw materials, let's say in Africa, to ensure that they get to understand what is happening. Also, we have the integrated reporting framework. For the integrated reporting framework, it has 4 principles, and this integrated reporting framework has mainly been misused by most organizations, where they combine a bit of sustainability with their financial statements, and then they refer to it as the integrated reporting framework, which is not the case. This is a framework with 4 principles which have details on what needs to be reported on. We also have the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which can be embedded with all these frameworks. And finally, we have the United Nations Global Compact, which has about 10 principles where organizations are required to release their communication on progress reports on an annual basis. And finally, we have the IFC performance standards, which have been there for quite some time, and organizations have been aligning themselves into this. So thank you for this session. I'd like to ask Catherine to take it over from here as we invite Dr. to go ahead with more details on the GRI reporting framework.
Thank you very much, Owen, for that thorough analysis of sustainability. Maybe just to do a small recap, you've looked at the different aspects that have led to sustainability, upcoming diseases, climate change, regulatory environment, and looked at the benefits of that. We've seen demand from stakeholders for sustainable supply chains, from consumers to buy into products that are sustainable, that care for the future. How we like to term it is doing good business for good. Now, as Dr. Pai comes on, we want to ask a question. Kindly post your responses in the comments. In terms of sustainability, are you a sustainability practitioner? And even as we continue this discussion, are you looking to grow in sustainability from a personal growth point or from a career growth point? Thank you. And over to you, Dr.
Thanks, Catherine, and thanks, Owen, for that very good presentation. And I'm saying that sustainability is kizungu mingi. For those who don't understand Swahili, basically what George is saying, sustainability is a lot of English. And there is nothing on the ground. I think that's what George you meant. But really, listening to what Owen was saying, clearly there is need for it. And I can tell you, and this is out of experience, that if you do it properly, organizations who are looking to become sustainability practitioners, it's very clear that you can be able to increase your revenues, you can be able to cut your costs, you can be able to do risk management, you can also be able to, influence your brand, but also you can be able to get that social license to operate as a result of sustainability. So clearly, there's a good reason why businesses should be able to focus on it. But forget about the businesses. For us, and our career-wise, what does it exactly mean for us? And I think that's the crux of the matter is to say that there's a new research which was done by, LinkedIn, and they have come up and they have said, if you have some skills around sustainability, around ESG, your value increases by 26%. I think that's a good investment. We can do whatever we want to do in terms of, getting the skills, but we know that the return on investment is that our value increases by 26%. And therefore, I think that we're in good place. And really talking about, and I know Owen talked about many frameworks. Unfortunately, we cannot use the 1 hour to talk about the various sustainability reporting frameworks. We do teach organizations around all the sustainability, frameworks, but more importantly for this, we are talking about the GRI. And the question that I'm posing to you is that why GRI and why is this important? First and foremost is that it will give you a touch with the real life and the real world when it comes to sustainability, meaning that the content that we'll be able to cover as we go through this, even if you have not practiced sustainability, it will give you an opportunity to start appreciating and to start understanding, what sustainability is all about. And hopefully then with that, then you can be able to have some basics, your industry, around your company, around the area that you would like to be, but becoming, a step of becoming a sustainability practitioner. Remember, the certification at the end of the course is issued by the GRI. GRI, by the way, stands for Global Reporting Initiatives out of Amsterdam, is that they will be able to provide you with what is called GRI Certified Sustainability Practitioner. And that is the most sought, kind of qualification when it comes, to sustainability. And you can be able even to look into the GRI website, and it can be able to tell you exactly who have been qualified, because they list, who have been qualified as a sustainability practitioner. And therefore, that certification, gives you one step, in terms of if you are transferring your career, if you are transitioning, or if you are in an existing career, for sure that will be something that will be appreciated. It's also about, the way we are going to do it is that it will be very interactive conversations that we'll have. Of course, we've been, or I have been training. I'll be your trainer, by the way, and I've been training, for more than 12 cohorts. I have trained, I think, more than 150 people, and I've been working. If you go back, Catherine, if you talk about, interaction and having discussions and proper discussions, practical discussions, then we'll be able to do that. And also it gives you the opportunity to start doing your own report. Even if you are a consultancy firm, even if you are a big organization or as SME, you can already start thinking about the components that you can be able to put when it comes to your organization. And finally, as I was saying, it gives you that global recognition. You might be asking, why is it that you've been talking about various standards? You can move to the next slide, Catherine. But it's also critical that, the choice of you doing GRI, is based by facts. Here we are talking about International Federation of Accountants, did some research trying to see which is the most used standard when it comes, to sustainability reporting. And you can clearly, it's very clear from this chart that GRI Global Reporting Initiative, that 69% of the reports that are being done are referencing the GRI, which then means that you're in the right, space, if at all you choose GRI, because that is the most used standard. When you look at, there is of course multiple standards. There are companies which are using multiple standards. And what it means, multiple standard, is that they have GRI, they have SDG incorporated, and probably they also have UN Global Compact. And those are the three combinations that we see most of the time. Again, you can see, of course, the SDGs is the big thing, and we'll be able to talk. There is one module in the GRI, course, which talks about SDGs. But it's too late to tell you that, GRI Global Reporting Initiative is the golden mark of quality when it comes, to your certification and to getting to be able to produce your report. As you can see, this data is global data, and therefore, we can be able to trust this data coming from International Federation of Accountants. If you can move to the next one. Catherine, if you can move to the next slide. So of course, it is taken from the perspective that, most of the companies, in fact, we say that 74% of the companies in the continent are also reporting based on the GRI standards, which then means that is the best, I would say, is the commonly used standard when it comes to reporting. Recently, we have seen Nairobi Securities Exchange, we have seen Rwanda Stock Exchange, we have Ghana Stock Exchange. We've also seen, Uganda Stock Exchange also thinking around, the whole discussion about GRI. What are the main features of the GRI standards? They are modular in structure, and we'll be able to see that in a short while, meaning that you have what is called the universal standards, you have sector standards, and then you have topic standards. And all these are things that you are supposed to master in when you are doing for your exam, and we'll talk a little bit about that in more details. But the truth of the matter is that, our job really is to prepare you for that exam, and we'll be able to take you through, the structure, and the modular nature of the GRI standard. They are developed, GRI standards are developed by an independent, transparent process, where they give comment. For instance, we just now, as Owen was saying, we have a new standard from GRI, which is on biodiversity, which is GRI 101. Catherine, fine. If you just put it on this presentation mode. I was talking about GRI 101, which is a new standard which have come back, and there was a lot of, stakeholder engagement. There was a lot of discussions about, what should be in that standard, and therefore that's the nature and how, GRI standards are produced. They're also based, if you go back, they are also based on, it's also for big, for small, and I know there was a discussion around that, sustainability is for for big companies. And to say that, it's also for big companies that are and small companies that care about responsible business conduct. It also includes requirement and recommendations. This is a critical point that GRI standards will tell you what you need to do to be able to say that I have made my report based on the GRI standards. But of course, big companies have also made recommendations. For you to qualify to say I have made my report based on the GRI standard, it requires you to have done, passed all the requirements. And therefore, then the teaching that we'll be doing is to try to help you identify what are those requirements, at least for that part of reporting. It's also how, that it's compatible with a wide range of reporting frameworks. As I was saying, there are SDGs, UN Global Compact, we are talking about TNFD, we are talking about CDP, all those, we make sure, all GRI have made sure that they are interconnected, and therefore there is no challenge that once you report based on GRI, then you are ticking boxes to many of the standards. If you can move to the next one, which really details how the GRI standards look like. As I said, we have 3 levels and it's modular, meaning you have your universal standard, and within the universal standard you have 3 standards. One is, is what is called GRI 1, which is the foundation, and foundation really is to help you to understand, for you to be able to qualify to say, I've made my report based on the GRI standard, you must have followed what is in the foundation standard, GRI 1. Then GRI 2 is about general disclosures, is about the context in which you are reporting. Look at it from this perspective. We are disclosing, the context of reporting, what is the company, what is the activities, what are the strategies, what are the risk management frameworks you have put, what is the governance. All those are the things that you will do generally disclosure. And finally, you have GRI 3, which is material topic, which is about helping you to define what are the material topics. If you go back, Catherine, the definition of what are your material topics, that is defined by GRI 3. Then when you look at the sector standard, is that, for instance, you're in an oil and gas sector, GRI has given you a standard, which then you'll be able, which is a sector standard, which you'll be able to use to guide you as when it comes to reporting. There's one also for agriculture, and then there's topic standard. For instance, within the sector standard, they will tell you in oil and gas, one of the things that you need to think about is emissions. Now, within topic standards, then you'll be able to be told emissions, there is a standard for emissions, and they'll be able to provide you with details of what to look into when it comes to emission. If you can move to the next, and that's in a nutshell, as is how the GRI standards are looking. Again, this is details that will go into the course. Then asking our question, what is the component? How does it look into the certification, and how do you become certified? First and foremost, you need to know the key features of the GRI standard, which is GRI Foundation. We'll be able to go into the details of that to understand what are the key features. Then, of course, we'll be able to see how to use the GRI standard to prepare your sustainability report, and we'll go into the details of that with practical cases on how you can be able to chart out a report based on the GRI standard. It's also about understanding the relationship between sustainable development goals, and sustainability reporting, and what is the connection. For those who are keen, if you look at this, UN Global, not UN Global Compact, but United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and you look at goal number 12, which is responsible consumption and production, you'll be able to see there is a requirement there for companies to be able to do sustainability reporting. And that's give you an edge in the sense that if you have these skills, then you can, if at all your company is claiming to follow the SDGs, then you can be able to contribute from that perspective. It's also about, the assessment process to see what's the value of reporting. And I think Owen put this very clearly, that you have 2 main reasons. One is business development, the other one is management too. Let's look at sustainability, not a feel-good thing, but it's something that helps us be able to do business management or business development, but at the same time also help our managers and us to manage the business. It's also about the linking, as I was saying, about the SDGs and the opportunity that the SDGs present in the basis of the GRI standard. It's also how to conduct materiality assessment. What are those topics that matters for your organization? Remember, you cannot report on everything when it comes to sustainability. You got to choose, and the process of choosing what are the topics that are relevant, that's the materiality assessment process that you have to go through. Also, the development of the content of the report and how that should be done, and eventually, having, a content index, what we call GRI content index, which is a requirement, based on the GRI standard, will also be able to guide you in terms of that. So in a nutshell, it's quite a bit, it's heavy. We will take 5 days into this, but then it's an enjoyable process, especially when you pass the exam and you become, one of those few who are certified for GRI as GRI practitioners in the continent. And that makes a lot of difference. By the way, I should have said that, as Impact Africa, we are training across Africa. We have a license to train across Africa. So therefore, anybody within the African continent, we are more than happy, to engage and train, as far as this GRI is concerned. If you move to the next slide, which I guess is about the announcement. If you move to the next slide, Catherine. Oh, sorry, it's about the module. It's about what is it. So before you go, just go back one slide. Go back one slide. Catherine, if you can go back. Yeah, so it's about the GRI modules and what is it. So there will be 4 modules. One will be the reporting the GRI standard, and that takes like 2 days of the conversation, where we'll be talking about how do you report the GRI standard. Then the third module or the second module will be about human rights and the GRI standards, and how do you assess impact around human rights based on the GRI standard and within your organization. Then module 3 will be about integrating the SDGs in sustainable reporting and how to bring that into your report. And finally, then the last one is the GRI professional certification exam, which you'll have to do. And this is based on the universal standards. Remember, I talked about the universal standard is GRI Foundation, GRI General Disclosures, GRI Material topic, which is GRI 3, and that's where the exam will come from. I mean, don't worry about that. I mean, our job is really to prepare you to be able to pass that exam. We have prepared many people, so you will. But the key point is that there will be exam, which is paid directly. They charge 250 euros, but we have been
okay. Alafu ufuyo duve sijui ilitoa wapi hiyo uchafu ya brown.
So again, so that's the structure. If you move on to the next slide. So why should
okay.
you actually
Utaifua?
And this is a quick question. Yes,
okay.
This is our first module we are offering as Impact Africa. We just got accredited as GRI, but I can tell you for the last 10 years, first and foremost, I've been certified for GRI for the last 15 years. It's to say that I've been training using other training vehicles for GRI for the last 8 or so years. So when we are talking about this training, I have trained over 10 cohorts, where a cohort will have more than 20 people, meaning that I have trained over 168 people to become sustainability practitioners at a GRI. And so I know all the hiccups, all the challenges that can be able to come along. Out of the 168, not all of them, by the way, do the exam. But for those who have done this exam, 85, they have achieved an average of 85% of the results, meaning that the pass mark for GRI exam is 75%, but we have been able to achieve 85% in terms of the pass rate. And I can assure you, in the recent past, we have seen our candidates, scoring 92, 93% because of the preparation that we have provided to them. We do have mock exam, and this is a critical one. We are probably the only one with 5 fully fledged mock exams, meaning that if you pass these mock exams, we can guarantee you that you'll be able to pass. So we will be able to avail to you 5 mock exams that you can be able to sit and do. By the way, remember, the examination is multiple choices. So again, the mock exams will be multiple choices. We also support you in examination preparation. Basically, what we are saying, will give you summarized note. We'll be able to have remedios. If you want remedios, we will be able to walk the journey to revise your mock exams. And by the time you know it, then of course, there is one promise that you must be able to make to us, that you must be able to sit for this exam within the first 3 weeks of being trained. Because otherwise, if you take more time, then it becomes a little bit of a challenge in terms of how we can be able to support you. And then, of course, expert instructors, we've been working in sustainability and we know what it is all about. We also help to hook up people, for transitions and all that. So again, you will be trained by people who exactly know what they're talking about when it comes to sustainability. And that's why, we feel very strongly that we should be the trainer for GRI in the continent. There are about 4 of them, but then we have had the opportunity, to have more candidates, or have had the more opportunity to train as many candidates as possible. If you move to the next slide. which is also about, the same thing. As I said, our core business, I showed our client, I showed you what our activities that we do. So our core business is about development of sustainability report. We have helped many companies to develop their sustainability report based on the various standards and including GRI. So again, you'll be in good hands, and where possible, we'll also give you the opportunity, to have the experience, and I'll be able to talk about that in a short while, the experience to be able to support, some of our clients as you run through the job. It's also about group discussions and networking opportunities. We normally put people in a platform, as sustainability practitioners, and then they can be able, to have conversations around, the challenges, ask questions, and then not necessarily for the exam, but also for practicability of their job. It's also that we have case studies that we use for training, and these are customized and localized case studies across Africa. So we'll have case studies from Ghana, we'll have case studies from South Africa, we'll have case studies from Botswana, from Kenya, just to help you to appreciate, the concept of the GRI. And then it's flexible learning, access to course material online. Once we train you, these recordings will always be available, and we have a system we call Kajabi, where you can be able to go back and revise, what is it that you're doing, other than just sending you the recordings. So we put it in a platform that then will be able to, help you to become even better when it comes to revising. And of course, the comprehensive curriculum, we will be able to share some pre-materials in the beginning. We will be able, as I said, to have short notes. We'll be able to guide you through this process, and hopefully then you can be able to pass your exam, and not only pass your exam, but become a very good, sustainability practitioner based on the support that we have provided. If you move to the next one, which I think is about the announcement, and I think it's important that I make this announcement. As you know, and as I said, this is the first cohort that Impact Africa is doing as a certified GRI trainer. So remember, GRI will certify trainers, companies to be able to train. We just been certified last year around November, and this therefore is our first cohort that we are doing. And that's why we extended a discount on this cohort, because we are saying this is our first cohort, it's our introduction, at least for Impact Africa, not for Edward and the trainers, but for, Impact Africa. And that's, we have a class running between 12th to 16th of February for 5 days. The way we do it is that we do it in the evenings, and it's virtual. So we recognize that you are busy people, we recognize you are working, and therefore we take it from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day for 5 days from 12th to 16th of February, and where then we have conversations and we teach. And beyond that, then we keep on supporting you individually or in a group, in terms of what to expect. The deadline, for registration for this cohort, which is going at a discount, is on 5th of February 2024, is when we are expecting, that we will close it down. In fact, this is an extension. We had 20th, but then due to public demand, people wanted, just to be allowed to register end of this month. We decided to extend it to the 5th of the month. Deadline for making payment is Wednesday, 7th of February, because we need to receive all the payments before we start the course. And then, as I said, the location and its virtual sessions, we'll be able to do it on Teams. Course, we have a special offer for the first cohort, which we are going for $400. This is without the exam, 400 euros. This is without the exam. The exam, as I said, is 250 minus 25% as a discount that we have afforded you, by registering the GRI. And then at the end of the day, what you get is the GRI certification, and I must insist that this is truly a discount, because if you move to the next slide, we are going to have another cohort that we'll be doing in April, and this is the way it is being priced. Now, we've gone one step further, and we have 3 packages. Remember, what we are offering for this first cohort is a mix. Probably you could even say is almost a premium package. Is it something between, standard package and premium package? But starting after this cohort, the second cohort, which is coming up on mid-April, we will have 3 bands when it comes to the payment. We'll have the economy package, which will be going for 500 euros. Within that, you get your pre-reading materials, you'll get 5 days virtual training, you'll get my training materials, you'll also get 2 mock exams, and you'll also be able to get course recordings once they are available. So that's what you'll be able to get for $500 plus the 250. Then when it comes to the standard package, then that will be pre-reading. It's everything that you have on economy package, but over and above, you have the summarized notes, you have 3 mock exams, You'll have refresher program, which will do almost to your exam day. We'll have professional support through specific coaching. And this is, is professional support for you to transition. If you haven't transitioned, or if you're in sustainability, you get, 3 sessions, coaching sessions. And then also you'll be able, if you fail your exam, we'll be able to refund your fees for the exam. Now, premium package, which is a top notch. You get everything that is there within the standard package, but also you get 6 hours of coaching sessions. You get 5 mock exams. You also get, it could be physical training for 2 days. You get an immersion into a real life sustainability reporting, where we give you an opportunity for you to be able to test with the GRI standard and to work for a report, which will be a GRI report. And also, very interesting, you get money back guarantee if you fail your exam. You get back your 1,600 euros if you fail your exam. But of course, there will be conditions in terms of how long should you sit for the exam, how would you perform within your mock exams, and we'll be able to support you. Otherwise, then you get back your 1,600. So in a nutshell, is to say that the next cohort, which is in April, as I said, mid of April, the prices are going up. It's not only one price, it is 3 prices for economy, for standard, and for premium package. And again, people will be able to choose. But also to let you know that the one that we are offering now for 400, I said, is between standard package and premium package. And we are here to support you as the first, people to be able to engage in regards to that. I must let you know that we already have about 26 people who are already in the cohort. The idea is not to go beyond 35 people. So again, we have about 10 very limited slots there, which we are also waiting for confirmation from the various companies and various individuals for them to be able to sign up. So in a nutshell, that is what it is. I guess, what is the next slide? Yeah, so back to you, Catherine. I think this is the way of applying, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Even as we look at how to apply, the link will be shared on the chat for people to apply. Now, as we continue to look at that and mentioning from the standard package and the premium package, what future support would you need on sustainability? So this is the next question. Kindly give the comments on the chat. Would it be on top of the training? Would you like us to train your organization? Would it be on strategy development, reporting, carbon assessment? Let us know how else during the coaching sessions can we support you. I'd now like to invite Wakina Mutimbe, who is the branding executive and corporate branding and sustainability lead at Kenya Airways. Wakina is one of our clients and was trained by Daktari. I now invite her to give her testimonial. Welcome, Wakina.
Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I mean, it's so nice to see a team coming together to talk about sustainability and specifically GRI reporting. I trained with Dr. Mongai sometime, I guess over a year ago, and did the exam. I got a lot of insights from a point of one, understanding how to carry out stakeholder engagement, and most importantly, materiality assessment. It was very engaging on that. And I was able to do my exam and pass with 98%, which was really, really nice. So I got to pass my exam. And immediately I started practicing on putting together GRI reports. I come from a background of green buildings. So this was a good way to see how you can be able to report social issues, how you can be able to have a report that's another sustainability expert in another country or another organization. And most importantly, from the stock exchange can be able to look at different companies, their sustainability performance, and be able to rate them. So that was very interesting and very nice. I was able to even put together, after the training, to put together reports that people can easily understand and track their performance and encourage them to be able to put in sustainability measures that improve their performance. The best thing about GRI is you don't wonder what can you report, What can't you report? It gives you specific performance disclosures that you can relate to. And apart from reporting on them, can help you be able to choose how you formulate your goals and targets, and even ways in which you can be able to achieve them. So that is what I enjoyed most and what CRI has helped me be. From another point, if say for example you come from an environmental background like EIA experts, then now you're able to also put in your impact identification knowledge together and put together something that can be able to show how impact is doing. So I would say, I mean, at the beginning, GRI may seem like it is this big elephant, especially when it is put together with SDGs, and you wonder now how do you report on all these disclosures and also come and report on 17 SDGs, all the targets and all the indicators. But as you go through the 5 classes and also have the GRI document itself to refer to, it becomes easier to understand and it becomes easier for you to implement. I would actually recommend you go beyond just doing the classes, but also take the consultation where you work with Dr. Mungai and he, like a one-on-one where you consult him on a few things and you understand how he does his work, because that will give you another insight that will help you with the exams, because the exam doesn't ask very direct questions. It relies a lot on understanding. And I think that's my testimonial, Catherine.
Thank you very much, Wakina, for sharing your experience. I hope that this encourages others to join the class. We'll also have one more testimonial from Mimi. Mimi is the head of business communication and sustainability at BAT. So we will have her testimonial. So for Mimi, she says sustainability is everyone's business, not just corporations or businesses. It begins with each one of us as individuals. In keeping with this belief, as a sustainability professional, I embarked on a certification journey with GRI. A key objective was to enhance my knowledge and gain credibility as a sustainability leader. Dr. Mungai led the Impact Africa team in tutoring me and some of my colleagues, which involved discussion sessions, mock exams, and spot quizzes. These were an invaluable asset as they will familiarize you with the examination approach and you get to interrogate the content. Another key resource was the study materials provided, which came in handy in preparing for the exam as they guide your reading and build synergies with the examination material. She'd like to encourage any sustainability professional, especially those keen on disclosures and reporting, to pursue the GRI certification with an accredited trainer, such as Impact Africa. Yeah. So thank you for that. We'll now move to question and answer. Yes, we'll now move to question and answer.
Yeah. Catherine, I think there are a couple of questions that I think,
yes,
I should be able to answer. I think the first one was in regards to how much is the certification. I think I just explained, for instance, the fees to Impact Africa, as I said, will be 500, 900, or 1600, depending on the one that you choose. Of course, there's the examination fee, which is paid directly to GRI. I said it's 250 euros, but you get a discount because of going through Impact Africa. There is a question about how is Impact Africa related to KCIC Consulting, a fantastic question. The answer is that Impact Africa is the majority owner of KCIC Consulting. And KCIC Consulting, as you know, is also a private sector consultancy, which is necessarily dealing with, transaction around private sector development, a little bit about sustainability, but the key objective for KCIC Consulting, as I said, is public sector development. The other question, what's a pass rate for the previous cohort on first attempt? Pass rate is I'm interpreting pass rate, you mean out of the 20 people who sat there, or rather who attended the exam, how many passed and how many didn't pass? That is very difficult answer to give you, because as I said, what happens is that many people will decide not to do the exam, they freak out. But for us, we encourage, and that's why we have this support mechanism to help you. But for those who have passed, I say the pass rate have been 85%. We have had Mimi scoring probably 92%, and others within BAT, and other places, scoring very high marks. I don't know whether there is any other question that I need to answer, but for now, how is the exam structure? As I said, the exam is multiple choices. You have 40 questions within 1 hour, to be able to do those 40 questions, and don't worry about that. If you are well trained, this will be able probably to take you only 30 minutes. That is, if you are well prepared for the examination and you can be able to get a good score. So again, that's the structure of the examination. Okay, when is our exam scheduled for this training cohort? No, the exam is available anytime. Normally what we recommend, if you sit, we teach you between 12th and 16th. By the end of the month, we will pump you. We will make sure that you sit for the exam. If you buy our philosophy, we will be able to help you within those 10 days for you to be ready to sit the exam. Unfortunately, if you wait so much long before you sit the exam, the chances are that you have forgotten most of the concepts, and it is important to do it when it is very fresh.
Yes, there's more questions here.
There is a question about whether we have an exam center. All this is online. It is proctored through the online, so do not worry about how the exam will be done. You'll do it in your home, provided you'll be in a room without any movement, without any documents. The system, GRI have a very good system that will be able to help you to do that. So there's no center. You sit at your home and you'll be able to do that. Is the fee just for the exam or for the training? As I said, the fee, the 250 is for the exam, the 500 or 900 or the 1600 is for the training. Remember, now we are offering that at only 400 euros, for this cohort, but beyond that, in April, it's going up. I think that's all.
Yes, thank you, Dr. There's one more question here about, can one have a career blend from a background of geoinformatics?
I mean, I'm a good testimony in regards to that. I'm an accountant, and I can tell you that I started this thing 15 years ago. Now I'm a fully fledged, sustainability expert. And I don't have any background in environment. I don't have background in sociology. Mine is business. So even you in informatics, in fact, that is even very good because, it's about information and all that. And therefore it can be, it fits very well. So don't worry about the career that you are coming from. Remember, this sustainability is mainstream within the organization. We need engineers speaking the sustainability language. We need marketers. We need accountants. So it's in all areas of the organization.
Yes, there's another question. Is there coaching in the first cohort, and what other benefits are there in the first cohort?
I mean, in the first cohort, yes, on a limited basis, I can have conversations with people who want to be coached. Remember, I'm an ICF, accredited coach, and happy, to engage and to have sessions with the people, especially those who want to transition or people who, want to grow within their organization. So indeed, there will be possibility of a couple of sessions when it comes to coaching. I think there's a question about, whether the certification is for life. No, it's not. Of course, it is, provided you continue doing what is called CPD hours, which is about your career development. You have like 2 hours or 5 hours that you need to be doing every year. And if you do those 2 hours just to, to grow your knowledge around sustainability. So that's what it is. I think there was a question there. Please miss this. Yeah. So how is the market rate for practitioners? Well, that's a difficult question. It depends from which organization. What I can tell you is that by being a GRI certified, professional or, having some certification around sustainability will increase 26% of your value. That's already documented, is there, and it will give you more value. You said if you fail, you get a refund of your fee. Can one receipt? Yes, of course, you can be able to receipt. There's possibility of receipting, and that's why, into the next cohort, we will be refunding money for those who fail, those who have paid within the I think it was the standard package. Yes, we will be able to do that. But with consolidatable interest standard into IFRS standard, how will the qualification landscape change? Well, first and foremost, there's no qualification around IFRS S1, S2. So and in that case, then there is no certification there. And this is more for the accountant and how they will be able to disclose. But remember GRI, and there is a new document which have come up, in terms of how do we relate the GRI and S1 and S2. So from that perspective, by the fact that you have a certification around, GRI, and it's not just about the standard, it's go beyond the standard. We talked about human rights, we talked about SDGs. That's probably give you a premium. Okay. I think that's it. Oh, could there be sessions just on sensitization on sustainability in the future? Yes, I like that question. And, as I said in the beginning, Impact Africa have other two other flagship programs that we offer, one for the boards and for senior executives, that's the masterclass. But also we have a qualification for practitioners. It goes beyond the GRI. So in that case, then you don't sit for the GRI exam, but it provides you with a sensitization about sustainability and how that looks into the future, in the past and in the present, and what are some of the things that you need for you to be able to implement your work. How long does the exam report take? There's no, I didn't get that question anyway.
I think what they probably mean is in terms of the time span. Once you do the exam, it takes about 10 days where the Procretariat software will give you feedback on the report. But immediately you're done with the report, it shows you whether you've passed or failed. But then the certificate comes after 10 days, after they have validated that the exam was done in a transparent way.
Yeah, there is a question on SCR, and SCR, as you rightly say, is more risk-based. GRI is also about opportunity-based, and this is a fundamental myth within sustainability, that people have looked at sustainability more from a risk perspective. We are now looking at an opportunity perspective, and GRI is more focused, of course, both risk, but also more important, the opportunity that it can be able to provide you. You will be able to identify where the opportunities are with the GRI standard, whereas the one for risk management, and again, is very specific to climate risk. So that is the distinctions. Yes, is there Association for Sustainability Professionals in Kenya? Yes, I actually sit in the board of one, which is the ASPK, Association of Sustainability Practitioners of Kenya. So you can look out on the website. For sure, there is something there, and there is an association, for sustainability professionals in Kenya.
Yes, there's another question here on the Q&A. Do you offer training on carbon accounting and analysis?
Yeah. Yes, we also, but that's also what I talked about, customized courses is not a general course so far because of the sheer numbers that we'll be able to get. But when we have organizations that are looking for that, then we'll be able to train them on that particular, space on carbon assessment, but also more importantly on their carbon, credit strategies and how they can be able to benefit from climate change.
Two more questions. Is the GRI the same as environmental social impact assessment? And then after that, there was a hand up from George.
No, there is actually a very big difference, because the environmental social impact assessment is about assessing the impact of a project when it comes to environment and social, whereas GRI encompasses more and more disclosures. When you look at the sector standards that are there, sector standard and topic standards that are there, that's how you'll be able to acknowledge that GRI is broad enough. Of course, it will help you to do your ESIA, but really ESIA will not help you to report in accordance with the GRI. Owen, you can take the question on eco rating.
For eco rating certification, for GRI, we don't focus more on ratings, but definitely it will allow you to have the foundations and the background in terms of what you require, in terms of what is checked in terms of the ratings.
Yeah, look at it differently. That GRI helps you to have the framework. For instance, if you're going to have some ratings, then they will rely on what you are reporting on the GRI, and GRI will give you the readiness to become, rated. So look at it from that perspective.
Okay, thank you. George had a question. Kindly put on your video and your camera. Okay, as we wait for George to do that, there's one more question. Are there GRI or other standards for non-governmental organizations?
No, it's the same framework. And the only thing that I can say is that, depending on your organization, of course, you can talk about sustainability report, you can talk about impact report, and then GRI will be able to provide you the framework to be able to report on each one of those. For NGOs and development partners, we have seen more impact reports as opposed to sustainability reports. For private sector is where we talk about sustainability reports, and I think that's the distinction. But the framework that you use in this case, will be the GRI framework. I think you'll need to give George the opportunity to have the mic.
Okay, George, you have the permission to speak. You can go ahead, George. Okay, having a bit of trouble with George. We can move to Robinson.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Robinson.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. for that quite elaborative insight into the GRI. My question comes in the GRI, mostly looking at the GRI reporting into Kenyan based. It's more of a voluntary law that is pertaining to Kenya, that is tailored to Kenyan to ensure that companies do the GRI reporting, or GRI is basically for those companies that, quote in quotes, are being funded by organizations or countries that embrace sustainability reporting. Because looking at the landscape of sustainability in Kenya, most of it is done on voluntary, or unless there is pressure from, because the ones I've interacted with is that we are seeking for funds, and what they want are these. So they are doing this basically because of funding, but then there is no will in terms of now doing the GRI reporting. And as you know, the GRI, the sustainability space is quite dynamic and changing every day. How are we as sustainability expert prepared to these changes?
Sorry, you're muted.
I'm speaking to myself. Thanks, Robinson, for that question. Really pertinent question. First and foremost, yes, indeed, GRI standards are voluntary. Of course, we have seen in the recent past, the likes of Nairobi Securities Exchange, Rwanda Stock Exchange, Ghana Stock Exchange, pushing their organizations listed within those stock markets to start, voluntarily publishing reports based on the GRI standard. But when you look at Nairobi as an example, I mean, we've been working with more than 20 companies. It seems like everybody is taking it as a requirement, whereas it's a recommendation. Why is that the case? It is out of the appreciation that sustainability is no longer about feeling good. Traditionally, we were doing it as a marketing gimmick. Let me put it that way. Now, we've seen the opportunity that by embedding sustainability within our organization, what are those things we can be able to unlock specifically, from competitive advantage perspective? And I talked about this. It's about revenues, it's about cost, it's about risk management, it's about reputation, it's about social license to operate. Now, if I can be able to achieve these things by engaging with sustainability, well, fair enough, I get into it. But the climax of it, remember, is also telling the world what is it I'm doing. Very sensitive of the fact that you are not doing greenwashing. So from that perspective, then, for those who understand, it doesn't matter whether it's a big or a small, then sustainability embedment and reporting becomes a critical game changer. So from that perspective, then we as practitioners, our job can only be increasing. Our job can only be to help the organization to embrace sustainability and to see the value that sustainability can be able to bring. If it was no value, then obviously then there would be not many people be looking into it. And then it would become, what I would argue, feel good kind of situation. Of course, the other question you're asking is about, the trends. Yeah, indeed, there's many things that are happening within the sustainability space. And the key thing is that, how can we, and including the standards changing, but also standards are being updated every day. So that's why this knowledge and getting updated, the CPD hours, making sure that you have the right trends, you have the right knowledge when it comes to sustainability will be, of course, of use. So that was my 2 cents into it. I don't know whether when you have anything to add. Also, Catherine, I'm sure you can add something into that.
So thank you very much, Dr. Just to add, in the beginning of the year also, IFC disclosed that it won't be funding any organization that won't be reporting on the sustainability journey. So just to add on it, apart from it being voluntary in terms of investor demands, it's now a requirement. So companies better align. Also, as answering the second question that George has asked on SMEs, and my simple response will be, as an SME, the goal is to grow to be a bigger organization, and the concept of managing for the future needs to apply. Where as SMEs, we need to align ourselves to what is in the future, what needs to be done, so that we can ensure that when the opportunities come, it won't be a matter of us rushing to come up with the policies, to come up with the sustainability strategies, but we'll be well aligned to take advantage of the opportunities that are coming. Thank you. Dr.
Yeah, thank you, Owen, for that. Maybe just to add.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe just to add.
Sorry, go ahead, Catherine. Go ahead, Catherine.
Yes. So yes, as much as Owen has pointed out to the IFC requirements, I think we're moving to a future where soon enough they're going to become compulsory for companies to do it. So right now, if companies are willing to be fit for the future, they need to start looking at how they can integrate sustainability. Also doing good for good business. So it goes beyond the regulatory compliance to also include how are we ensuring that our future generations are able to have a sustainable planet, around it. And looking at the 3 bottom lines, you have your planet, your profit, and your people. Maybe then also to add on SMEs, maybe that's something else that we could further talk about, George, as offering support on that under our enterprise support services. Back to you, Dr.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to talk about that point about our enterprise support services, because George, you are spot on this question. One of the things that you are doing here at Impact Africa Consulting Limited, we are setting up an SME sustainability hub. Our job, we understand it's very expensive for SMEs to be able to do this, but they need it. So we have taken the liberty, the duty and responsibility to create a hub where our job really is to support SMEs to embed sustainability within their businesses. It will obviously be not costly, and in fact, the first cohort, we are giving it for free. We are sending out, very soon, I think in the month or end of February, we are sending out, request for application for people that we can be able to support, as far as sustainability is concerned, because we also feel we have a duty and responsibility to give back to the SME and for them to be able to see the opportunity, because for sure, there is great opportunities for them as it is for big companies. And the more they know about it, the better they become. For instance, once we talk to our big companies that we are supporting, they are insisting that they don't buy from unsustainable businesses. Now, these are the SMEs who are supposed to be feeding into those supply chain. Now, we need to take a responsibility and help those SMEs to be able to fit into those big organizations. So keep watching. This is coming up, our sustainability hub. And George, for sure, if you're in consulting, we will obviously. Is this George Waigi? I'm wondering whether this is George Waigi. But the point is that, we will be looking into that and supporting that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that closes our Q&A session. So thank you guys very much. I think I'd like to give a chance to Owen and Edward to say, Dr. to say a word of parting shots.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, George Waigi, for being here. And for sure, we're reaching out to you. I'm sure you can add a lot of value, into that SME hub. But really to thank all of you for the opportunity and being here. I'm really looking forward for those who will be joining us on 12th to 16th of February. to be able to get into the first cohort. And of course, those who will also be joining us in April, how I wish you can be able to take advantage of the $400 as opposed to $800, and we can be able to move this, mountain of sustainability and gain that 26% that I talked about, that our value is increasing as a result of sustainability. So wishing you all the best and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Owen, any passing words?
Mine is to thank everyone for turning out, and we're expecting to have you, giving you all the tricks to ensure that you are certified, you pass the exams, and just to reflect on that sustainability today has been known as sustainability, but in the next 5-10 years, it will be part of our business strategies. So once again, asanteni sana, and happy to have you. See you in the next session. Asante.
Thank you all very much for joining us during this session. I hope it has been informative. We will be sharing the recording for this so that you can review it. Also check out our website, that's www.impactingafrica.com. And don't forget to follow us on our social media, that is at Impact Africa Consulting Limited. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our speakers, Dr. Edward Mugai and Owen Murithi. I'd like to thank those who gave the testimonials, Wakina Mutembe and Mimi Muvuti, sorry. I'd also like to thank the entire team that has been involved in putting together this presentation and this webinar. And also like to thank you all, those who have joined us on the Teams platform, on YouTube, on Facebook. Thank you for taking time to join us on this day. Stay tuned, keep up the conversation, #GRI training, and don't forget to follow us. And also the link for the training has been put on the chat. Don't forget to sign up for the cohort that's happening on the 12th to the 16th of February. Thank you once again. My name is Catherine Mumo, and it has been a pleasure being your moderator. Have a wonderful afternoon.